Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyper Roll with Autarch as we continue through the detailed breakdown of the builds that I gave you in the 5 builds you need to know. And I just want to make something clear. It's not that these are the only builds that'll work. There are lots of builds that'll work. These are the ones that I have tested over and over again to see if they are consistent. These are the most consistent builds that get you into the top 4. And today we're doing Tricky Pugilist or Bruiser Trick Shot. I like to go to this one when I get an early 3-cost trick shot or 2-cost. If it's a Teemo or a Bard, I'm willing to go for it because I can get the trick shots out early. It is also reliant on getting Bruisers, but since there's 2 1-cost, that's usually pretty easy to do. Fortune Crest was interesting to me because in this particular build, you have 2 fortunes. So if you can pick up a Fortune Crest, you can turn an additional champion into a fortune and then just have fortune rolling throughout the entire match. Not that you want to do a solid fortune build, but since Kabuko and Teemo are going to be fortunes, you might as well get some additional treasure out of it. With Fortune, it's every other combat that you're going to be able to either take rewards or press your luck and try to get the number higher, which is going to be based on losses. So early on, when you're only losing 2 health, it's not bad to kind of set yourself up for losses. Although in reality, in this particular match, there wasn't any chance of me really winning because it wasn't giving me the usual bruisers I could do to form a front line. I'm just making sure Kabuko is in so that he can continue to gain additional health. For item choices here, since I know I already have my blue buff for Teemo, can go ahead and pick up the BF sword for Bard since he's going to be a carry, and then we're going to continue to press our luck when it comes to our fortune because we're not likely to win anytime soon. And in fact, for the next couple of rounds, we're going to go Piltover, form, and put all of our back line in front and our front line in back to make sure that we lose. And I'm not a real fan of Fortune as an overall trait, but as an added bonus into something like this where I can be building a team that I know can win later in the background while getting rewards, I'll use it. But let's move on to our second set of augments. Nothing super exciting other than idealism here. So if nothing comes up better than idealism, we'll go ahead and take that because that can ultimately be a good Bard item. We're going to have to put some loot on some people because we can no longer pick anything up. And we will hyperspeed it just because, well, we're trying to lose right now. We just want to get the rewards up, see what we can get, and then use it to turn the team around. And we are going to go ahead and press our luck one more time. And again, this is because I know in my head that the final comp we're reaching here, which is going to be 6 Bruisers and 4 Trick Shots, is strong enough to win, or at least do really well and carry us into the top 4, even if we throw all the way to 4 health. And this mechanic in general gives me flashbacks to Piltover, although it doesn't necessarily have the guaranteed payoff that Piltover did, where you ended up with a giant dragon. But we're just going to have to do one more loss. Item choice here, we're going to go with the Deathblade. Bard is AD, so you want to get lots of AD on Bard so that those attacks are doing a lot of damage. We are now into our final forced loss, and we don't have a choice after this because if we don't win, we're out of the match. But the goal here will be to cash out. We will have an NPC round that we can use to reform this team and get it into shape. And again, we're just going to then switch to Bruisers up front and Trick Shots in the back. It is time for our final augment, and nothing super exciting in the first group. Ultimately, crash test dummies, again, not as effective as previous seasons, last year's, where we had rapid fire that it worked really well with, but it ain't gonna hurt because it does give you a little bit of stun at the beginning. We now need to win, so we've put our front line in front, our back line in back, and we're gonna see what they can do. This will go the Rage Blade onto Teemo. We are very close to that gold 3-star Teemo, who can put out a lot of damage, especially when you get to the 4 trick shots. I find it key to strengthen up the front line first, so I want the 4 Bruisers before the 4 Trick Shots. At 8, I will hopefully be able to bring in an additional Trick Shot, which is I'm looking for Kaisa at that point. But as you can see, it turns around pretty quickly once we get our strength out front. And now there is no more time to press our luck, so we're going to cash out, get everything we can. And it gave us a Kaisa, which is good, and then just some additional goodies and a lot of gold. So we should be able to set up pretty well for the rounds coming towards us. Coming out of the NPC round, we have some interesting choices, and this is really a game time choice that you'll have to make. Item-wise, probably best to just continue to work on the front line here since we have some good backline items. Because of Idealism, our Hand of Justices are pretty good. Whether to switch out Sivir for Xayah, it's going to depend on a lot of factors. Do you have Riven in your lineup? If you don't, definitely make the swap because that's a 5 cost as opposed to a 1 cost. But if not, if you have Riven, you're likely going to also have Storyweaver, which could then give you a Kayle with a nice speed boost. So really, you can't go wrong if you go in one of those 2 directions, depending on what you get throughout the match. Time for another item choice, and this is going to be a Teemo item because we have the gold 3-star Teemo, and he's got a blue buff, Rage Blade, and now a Nashor's Tooth, which are just natural Teemo items in pretty much any setting. And we used our champion duplicator to get a 2-star Xayah, so we made sure we had enough power coming from the backline. Our front line will now hold things up. The backline, there's going to be a lot of bouncing around, as you can see, which is going to enable us to win. And because we're in Scuttle Puddle, we're going to get a lot of items here. We're going to go ahead and just grab the Guard Breaker as the best option as everything else is set. And then here, again, not many options. We can go ahead and grab another Guard Breaker and just put that on the Xayah. Now, as I mentioned in my big wrap-up video, these builds are great for getting into the top 4, but not necessarily for winning unless you have luck. That's luck. The gold 3-star Kaisa is going to give us a huge advantage going forward. And I've really noticed that that is the difference maker between that top 4 and getting first or second, is that little element of luck that really seems to be coming in. It's difficult to just craft a team the way you could last season that was going to win. Here, you need the RNG 100% to be on your side, or else you're likely falling in second, third, or fourth. RNG again, Hand of Justice. Remember, we have Idealism, so lots of Hands of Justice to go around. And you will see Kaisa now with 2 Hands of Justice just chewing through opposing players. Once she is able to get her ult off, it just wipes the team and she leads the damage charts, bringing us into the top 4. With our final 2 official item choices, our backline is done. They are all filled up, so it's just a matter of grabbing frontline items. Gargoyle Stoneplate will work on Silas, and then whatever good frontline item, Warmogs, can go on Silas as well. And I've said it a bunch of times in other videos, but this is really the key in Hyper Roll. You think in terms of teams of 10. This allows you to get your 6 Bruisers up front and get all of that health bonus while still having 4 trick shots in the back. It's not easy to get to 10 in norms. That requires a lot of time, patience, and even more luck here than it took to get a 3-star Kaisa. And we are down to the 1v1, and they have a very strong Fated team, but it's going to be hard for them to get through this because a 3-star Kaisa with 2 Hands of Justice that are getting bonuses thanks to Idealism. Yeah, watch what happens when she ultimately casts. Our team is down, but then their team nearly disappears, although it is Xayah who holds on for the win, and it's GG for everyone. The Tricky Pugilist, Trick Shot, Bruisers, give it a shot. I think you'll like it. And as always, have an absolutely awesome day.